So the proper implementation planning goes with developing a comprehensive plan for various activities that are involved or related to the project. Second one is proper implementation planning also goes with the proper estimate of the project, both the resources and then the additional cost that is required in order to complete the work. For each activity, proper estimate has to be made. And the third one is it needs to define the interlinkage of the projects and then the different activities that are involved in the project. And the fourth one of the fourth stage, or the fourth most important point of the proper implementation planning, goes with specify the cost standards. With this, it is possible to implement the proper planning in place. Once the proper planning in phase, then it is going to be called as a sound project organization, because they follow the methods and the procedures and all activities are properly taken care of. Fourth one is the advance action. Advance action goes with this is also a prerequisite for the successful project implementation, and this advance action goes with a vision also. So some of the activities are associated with the advance action. The first one is the acquisition of land. Second one is the securing essential clearances from all the bodies. And the third one is identifying the technology collaborators or the consultants. Fourth one is arranging the infrastructure facilities. Fifth one is the preliminary design and engineering. And the sixth one is calling for the tenders and identifying the potential suppliers with respect to the quality and the quantity. And all these goes with the advance action. The fifth most important stage is the time availability of funds. Proper arrangement of the funds have to be done so that no activity in the middle is going to get stopped. And there should be extra amounts which are called as the miscellaneous expenses. The company has to be ready for this kind of extra or the miscellaneous funds allocation, and they have to have the proper loan application in place, and then the tie-ups in place, and then the funding institution or the financial institution which is associated with the projects has to strongly support the implementation of the project. So the timely availability of the funds in place would definitely not stop any kind of payments, which would definitely give the time management of the project. Next one is the judicious equipment tendering and procurement. E-tendering is in place everywhere, so proper potential procurement can be done with respect to the quality and then the quantity by the registered suppliers. And once the optimum balance is maintained between the foreign supplies and then the indigenous supplies, it is possible for the entrepreneur to go and balance the supply and the procurement of the materials as well as material and the machines. So there should be a proper design there should be a proper decision if it is an imported product, and there should be a proper decision with respect to the importing of the machineries, because the technology as well as the machinery can be imported if it is indigenously not available. If it is available, then the promoter can definitely save the money in terms of the investing it in the indigenous technology and the supplier. And better contract management have to be maintained, because several agencies will be involved in it. The competence of the project manager and then the capacity of the capability of the contractors have to be thoroughly checked, so that the project would not incur any kind of stop or any kind of delays. And all the parties in the contract must be treated as partners to the project, and the discipline have to be maintained among the agencies, and discipline must be in place between all the interlinkages. And also the project authorities must retain the power to transfer a contract from one contractor to other if the first contractor is a faulty contractor, or if they are incapable of completing the project. Eighth one goes with the effective monitoring, which should be well in place, anticipating the deviations and then the monitoring the project in proper place, and then analyzing the emerging situations and the emergencies, taking the corrective action for the deviations or then the variances will definitely give the effective monitoring. So these are the prerequisites for the successful project implementation. See you all in the next video session on the network analysis. Thank you everyone for participating in this lecture videos discussion. Thank you. Hi all, welcome you all to the lecture video session on network analysis. What is a network? Network is a pictorial representation of all the activities that make up a project. So it shows the interrelationship between between various activities, and it also answers several questions of the project. And network analysis always refers to the number of techniques for the planning and control of complex projects. Project formulation and project implementation are the two essential functions of a project management. Project formulation ensures the scientific selection of a project, whereas the project implementation ensures the optimal allocation of time and resources for the project activities. So here all the project design should have contained 5 different elements. It should systematically formulate and describe each one of the basic elements. These five different elements are nothing but inputs, activities, outputs, effects, and impact. Again, inputs, activities, outputs, effects, and impact. Project design should start with defining a desired project. So, or it should start with designing a project with a defining desired impact. So we work from the top down. That means we go from the top to bottom. That is, what effects are needed to achieve the desired impact. What is the preparation, how we travel through, and how we go with the expected results or desired impact of the project. What outputs are needed to achieve the desired effects. There are certain questions like, why do we need to implement the network analysis in place? So this network analysis, or the network that we are going to build up, is going to answer some of the questions. It will answer some of the questions like, which activity comes first and which activity comes next, and which comes after each one of them. Like, what is the sequence of operations, and what are the critical activities, what are the subcritical activities, or which is having the more priority than the other one. All these questions are answered with the network analysis of a project. Basically, the network analysis is also known as the project scheduling. Project scheduling is a tool, it's a planning tool. So network analysis is basically a tool which is going to give the clear idea of the project and to understand the priorities, the critical activities, and how to plan to achieve the critical activity, and which will also give an idea of the delays that may happen and how exactly we can arrest the delays. That is also a big help by doing the network analysis. So many of the network analysis, as I already stated or mentioned in the earlier lecture video sessions, are PERT, CPM, JERT, WASP, WASP, LOB. Out of all these 5 different type of network analysis, 2 are very popular to handle the big complex projects. One is the project evaluation review technique, and the other one is the critical path method. So the network analysis, basically it gives us an idea how the project can be implemented to reach the desired impact with the inputs that is already in place. So what is the importance of network analysis or the network techniques? Basically, we can point out on all this. A project it has been divided into several small activities which are having the interlinkages, and this network analysis, once it is developed as for the whole of the project, which is divided into small activities, helps in management to minimize the total cost and the total maintenance cost. Any big task which is divided into smaller activities would definitely gives a clear picture of how exactly the planned activity has to be conducted. So the network analysis ensure the most effective utilization of the resources. So with the limited resources, it is possible to achieve the big result, that is the expected result, involving lesser cost. So the network analysis also facilitate the coordination between the activities planned, so that it is going to give the interlinkages which is going to be followed by the execution of one work and then the execution of the other work. So the beginning of the other work. So the time management is a critical role in the network analysis. So time management will be possible if the whole task is. So network analysis avoids the time delays because the time management can be done very effectively and efficiently. So it is also, network analysis is also a great tool in order to design, schedule, and then control the activities of a project. Network analysis always integrates the project planning and helps in monitoring, and it avoids the time overrun, and it also gives a apparent picture of the work elements and then the sequential elements, and will be a great helping tool in order to understand the sequential relationship of the project. So what are the different types of network and techniques? Different types of network techniques which are classified as CPM, which is popularly known as critical path method. This type of network technique is nothing but it is a project management tool which is used to formulate a time frame for the project, and in order to find out where the potential delays are most likely to happen. So this critical path method is a very important tool to understand and to maintain the time. And PERT is nothing but program evaluation and review technique, and it is basically a scheduling technique, and this scheduling techniques helps the project manager in planning, monitoring, scheduling, and also evaluating and controlling bigger or the larger projects. And this is a probabilistic model, and it also introduces the uncertainties into the network, in the project network, so as to identify where exactly the anticipated delay might appear. So the third one is the GERT, which is nothing but the graphical evaluation and review techniques. So the graphical evaluation and review technique is a new technique which is superior to the PERT, and it is going to give it is also a superior technique compared to both CPM and PERT, and it is the analysis which is based on the simulation. So this simulation based analysis will definitely be very helpful to understand the anticipated delays as well as anticipated problems that may come in the work of the project. So the LOB is nothing but the line of balance technique. It is also a graphical technique which is mostly a graphical representation of the progress that is achieved, during the project implementation, and it also helps in understanding the key events which is going to give the project a proper time management. PERT versus cost, that is this is an extension of the PERT technique. This is associated with the cost also. So it covers the cost of the project, and this is going to be a superior technique compared to the PERT, because PERT is only the scheduling technique, whereas this goes with the cost. So it helps us to understand what is the cost involved, what could be the excess amount, or what could be the miscellaneous amount that may come in the project execution stage. WASP is nothing but workshop analysis scheduling program. This method is defined by the British authority, and this method was also a very popular program, and this through all this like several techniques that are networking technique, these are all most out of all these network technique, most common techniques are PERT and CPM. And CPM is nothing but the critical path method, and PERT is nothing but program evaluation review techniques, technique. So let's understand what is the need for the PERT or CPM. Why do we need these two network technique? What it is going to give? PERT and then the CPM always gives the prediction of the deliverables. What could be expected out of the project? So we know that the PERT and PERT and CPM are the two different methods, and basically we can understand. If we go back to the history, this program evaluation review technique was created by the United States, that is USA Navy. After the World War II, the PERT became a very popular management strategy, and for handling the large scale complex projects. And this program, this PERT, what it does is like it helps in project in evaluating the project that are involved with a large amount of planning, and then human resources also, coordination of the human resources. Like it could be in the construction, it is a very popular technique in the construction, and other type of bigger projects like It could be the infrastructure, or it could be any kind of the big massive projects. So I have listed out some of the needs here. First one is the prediction of deliverables. Second one, planning resources requirement, controlling, and then the internal program review and external program review as well, performance evaluation, and the uniform wide acceptance. Let's discuss about the need of the PERT and the CPM in length in the next lecture video session. Thank you all for participating in this lecture video session. Thank you.